You don't have to look very far or deeply in Indian culture to find evidence of sexual liberality from the Kama Sutra onwards, which is all to say that we're still, I feel, in the process of rediscovering who we are. And the strict Victorian morality is actually more of a British thing than it is a South Asian thing.
The British are horrible people.
Okay, let's
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get disagreement from me.
Hello, namaste, Zarna Garg here. Welcome to the Zarna Garg Family Podcast. We are so excited. We have a sizzling hot episode for you that's going to help everybody because we are getting million DMs, questions, comments about this topic, and we're going to get right into it. We have a full house with a new face. So let's get right into it. My husband of 25 years, Shalabh Garg, Wall Street veteran, my daughter, who's finishing up college, Zoya Garg, my son, who's 13 years old in middle school, Veer Garg, and a very, very, very special guest, the director of our upcoming movie, a nice Indian boy, also is a cancer doctor because that's how the Indians roll. So we have Dr. Roshan Sethi in the house. Everybody give a warm welcome to Roshan.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Roshan, thank you for taking time out and joining our podcast today. As you know, this topic of being gay and being Indian and being closeted is everywhere right now. I'm like, because we have a movie coming out on this topic, the best movie. Everybody who's watching better write this name down. A Nice Indian Boy, April 4th, releasing all over America and in India too now.
Oh, really? It's releasing in India. It's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, they've come up with distribution plans for Australia, New Zealand, India, the UK for at least pay TV, and maybe also for theatrical, and Canada.
Wow.
People, you're
Will
gonna.
Canada, will we charge them tariff or no?
Yeah.
It's our 51st date now.
51st date.
Even though we all knew it's a very special movie, it's a very, very special movie, people. When it comes out, you must watch it, especially all the moms. I'm talking to you. Go with your kids, go with your daughter, go with your son. Forget the husbands. We've given up on the husbands. But the trailer itself alone is getting so much attention. Roshan, are you surprised by the reaction that you're getting to the trailer?
Well, yes, in some ways, because we've outstripped almost every other comparable indie movie in 4 days. So a lot of these are movies with flashy white stars. So it's crazy in a way that our trailer has got as much attention as it has because we're going up against, movies with big stars and from major studios. But I do think it reflects, first of all, just the novelty of the story because you just haven't seen this story before. And it's also a tone thing. I think people want content that feels like a warm hug. The days of dark, brooding, melancholy, quote unquote artistic indie cinema, I don't know how long they will be appealing to audiences. Whereas this is like My Big Fat Greek Wedding. So, and you can feel that tone in the trailer. So I'm guessing that's what people want out of movies. I just think everyone wants to feel happy for like 5 seconds at least. Zarna has one, or actually multiple very emotional scenes, but one of them where she was making us all cry on set, which is obviously not something Zarna does that often. She was thinking about you guys, her kids. That's what she said anyways.
Yeah.
You were thinking of which kid in particular, I wonder.
I was thinking about Bridge, not either of you.
She's saying that because Bridge is not on the podcast.
No, I was, because Bridge is the most secretive of the three. And I had a moment of being like, could he be keeping a secret like this? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be. The thing about why this movie touched me so deeply is because it could be a secret that a kid keeps about anything from their parent. And a scene like that makes you wonder. Is there a job thing? Is there what is it that's going on in his heart?
Wow,
it's
that's
definitely not you, Zoya, because I know he assumes everything is about her.
Well, the truth is, I definitely don't have any secrets from you. So if that was the emotional,
she already knows everything in your heart. But I don't think that's typical because I don't think most South Asian kids are emotionally expressing themselves to their parents that often.
Oh, I'm very emotionally expressive. It's actually to her.
It's almost emotionally oppressive. I am.
Yeah.
It's funny because I don't think my generation was like that. I don't think we told our parents how we were feeling. Ever.
So let's get into it.
Yeah.
Because the whole reason I wanted to do this episode, and we all actually, independent of you and our movie, Shalabh, who usually is not tuned into anything, texted me and said, we are getting a lot of comments about from parents to help their kids come out.
Oh,
And
that's good.
especially moms. It feels like a lot of moms know their kids' secrets, but not
Mm-hmm.
the dads.
Mm-hmm.
And the moms are now like dying, right? Like if I knew my kid's secret, my kid was living this second life,
Mm-hmm.
it would be painful to not to watch that go on and on and on. Your generation, I
Mm-hmm.
I know you and I, Roshan, know people today
Yeah.
in the 40 who are 30, 40 something and just can't come out.
Yeah. No, I think our generation was like all closeted. That's what it felt like. I mean, I'm talking about South Asians in North America.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How old were you when you realized you were gay, and how long? I mean, how old were you when you
Yeah, I
came out?
was. It's a really good question. I was 11 when I realized I was gay, and then I didn't come out for 20 years. Remember,
So
those
what
were
made you
20.
realize?
Uh, oh, how did I realize I was gay? Oh, I thought you were saying, how did I realize it was time to come out? How did I realize it? The same way you realized you were straight. You just know. It hits you like a truck when you reach
But did
puberty.
you know before that, or like?
Um, no, I didn't have any sense. But just like everyone has their own awakening around the time of puberty, I had mine, and it was not subtle. Like it was very clear. I think some people have a much slower burn of an experience where it takes them years to discover, even into their 20s. That was not the case for me. And then I knew immediately, the moment I knew was also the moment I knew I had to lie about it, I thought, to survive. And then for the next 20 years, I lied about it, and I came out when I was 30. But that was a slightly different time. I don't think it was an entirely different time, but it was a slightly different time.
When you were 11 and you realized, was it like you had started to develop crushes on other guys? Like what was that early
Well,
experience
I
like?
was just experiencing physical attraction towards men. The same way that, when you guys reach puberty, I'm sure you experience the same thing with whatever genders. And it is like, it's all part of it, like a whole like heady swirl of things that are happening at that age.
Yeah.
Because, you're changing in so many ways. You're moody for the first time, usually. You feel embarrassed and oppressed by your parents, usually for the first time, because it's not an emotion you really have. And you're embarrassed of your own joy for the first time, because as a kid, kids are so unembarrassed of their joy. So all of those things are swirled up and happening together, but they led me in the direction of lying, which I thought I had to do to survive. And maybe I did. I don't know. It's so complicated.
Where were you? Where were you when you were
I
11
was
years old?
growing up in Calgary, Canada, so it was it's not rural, but it's pretty pretty small town Canada. So it's not like,
And both your parents were doctors, right?
both. My mom was a doctor, and my dad was a nuclear physicist and went into real estate
Nuclear
eventually.
physicists, yeah,
But
so-
I really there were no models on TV either. Like there was no way
Right.
to imagine a happy life. Like now kids will have, I guess, a nice Indian boy. I'm talking about South Asians because I'm sure other people already have other models. But there was nothing like that. It just seemed inconceivable.
No, it's so interesting that you say that, Roshan, because I think when I was growing up, people were just starting to put women of color in like lead roles. Like that
Yeah.
was just starting to happen.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, this is so ridiculous. Nothing's going to actually change from this. And I felt like it was this fake way of fixing problems that would never actually change. But I feel like as an adult, I watch Veer and his friends and who they think is attractive and all these different
Mhm.
things. And it's women of all races. And I definitely feel like that's a direct byproduct of the changes of representation on television. And I
Yeah.
honestly, I totally didn't buy into it when I was growing up, but I'm seeing the effect on Veer and the kids now, which has been really healthy.
No,
and
it's such a profound
exciting.
effect. Karn isn't attracted to anyone who is an Indian because he grew up in India. So he was
Wow.
there until he was 18. So he has a lot of trouble finding white men attractive, which is so
Oh, wow.
obviously the opposite of how most gays are oriented in the US. But he just literally he doesn't get it.
It's interesting because when I was at private school, I felt that a lot of people were very closeted. Like it
Mhm.
was just like there were a lot of kids. I mean, granted, I was in elementary and middle school then, so people were younger, but people were definitely a lot more like secretive about who they were. And I think that was a product of like weird social status type situations because, it's like a lot of these kids had a lot of privilege and parents who had really high expectations of certain whatever versions of them. But in public school, I felt like kids were super themselves. Like I knew a lot of kids who were out.
Mhm.
I knew a lot of kids who were very like like very, wore it in their clothing and in their identity and wore it like very visually. And I felt like that was a big change and difference between the two schools, actually.
Mm.
That's
I was saying
interesting. Like,
earlier,
for all the moms who are struggling, I mean, that's a very interesting piece of insight, that being in private versus public school could actually make a difference in how comfortable your child is in coming out or not.
Well, because in a public school, there's just a lot more variety of kids. So the chances that you meet another kid that's like a little different makes you think, oh, I can be a little different too, and it's not that crazy because that kid's really different. Like there's just a lot of kids. Whereas in private school, even I, like, whatever, I have so many stories of like wanting to straighten my hair because everybody had straight hair in private school, and like in public school I never did that because there were lots of kids with all four forms of different hair.
Yeah, I went to private school and I felt it was worse there too. I mean, we were all literally wearing uniforms, which in a figurative sense was pushing a kind of uniformity on all of us too. You definitely did not want to stand out in that way. And then there was a perceived loss of power and privilege in being gay. And that was somehow in the milieu of these mostly wealthy children.
Yeah.
Wow, that is the most unexpected realization. Wow,
When you
sure
came out, who was the first person that you told?
I don't even remember. Oh, my friend, just a close friend. I had to think about that because it was so long ago. And then I eventually, told my mom, and then I told my brother, and then I slowly percolated the news.
What was your mom's reaction?
Well, she was really, I think, and this is, I think, natural for literally any mom, any parent. The first thing she just felt was fear for my future, because it was really hard for her to imagine how I could lead a happy, or at least a conventionally happy life of being gay. So all her fears were completely valid and natural. And if there are moms of gay children listening, all of their fears are completely valid too. And I think there's such a pressure to be immediately accepting and immediately loving and pretend you don't have any misgivings, to pretend you don't have any fear. Those fears are natural. And the reason you have those fears is because of what society has taught you. I grew up in the 90s, in the heyday of AIDS, and not having gay marriage be legal in the country. So obviously, whatever fears my family had came directly from what was in the environment. And my fears came from that as well. Now, because of art mainly, but many other things, like the fact that gay marriage is legal unless it's overturned, and the fact that TV shows and movies feature gay people with inner lives rather than token characters, all of that has changed, I think, what people feel in terms of fear. But all of her fears came directly from that. And one of the things about the movie Nice Anyway is it's very gentle towards the parents. And in a weird way, it's made me very gentle towards the parents as well.
It really is. Like, the movie is, first of all, not a coming out movie, just so
No.
everybody knows. Everybody's out. That's not what the movie's about. The movie is more about how they become one family and all the hilarities that ensue with the parents trying to understand and integrate the gay lifestyle into their lifestyle, and they I mean, Karan Soni, your real life partner, the star of our movie.
Oh my God.
He has played this character so. I mean, he's already a superstar, but he's gonna forget us. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, I don't even know
Yeah.
what we're gonna do.
Yeah, he'll probably kick me out of his house. No, yeah, he's so good, and drawing on his own real life experiences, obviously, as well. It's so personal for both of us.
But speaking of the pressures that parents face, Shalab has a story, I think, of his friend from IIT.
yeah.
right?
So it's a girl I used to have a crush on a long time ago.
right.
But she's been married for 20, as long as I've been married.
And you've also been married as well.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, I've been married.
Just in case.
I just so it's clear.
Yes. Yeah.
And she has two boys, and both boys were born in America but raised in India. So once the parents used to live in America when they were young, the boys were born, they moved back to India and raised them in India, the two boys. And the older of the two boys was gay. And it so happened that she was visiting my home after a very long time, and my kids were around too. And Zoya was, trotting around the living room like she owns it, like she always does. And she saw her and she was saying nice things about her. And I was like, oh, we should set your older son up with her.
What?
And get them married.
What?
Like, you do in a,
You
in a
said that?
I did say that.
Yeah,
And
we
she
would
said
say
that as
that.
much as I would like to, my older son is gay. And I was like, and that sort of led to a long conversation. after
We can
kids left.
return to that
between,
point.
between me and her, and she explained to me how sad she felt
Hmm.
when her older son told her this, because she felt that what a difficult life he must have led. And the son said the reason he did not tell her is because being gay was illegal in India for
Mhm.
most of those years. So he was afraid that if he told her parents, his parents, he would be implicating them in something illegal.
Yes.
And that's the
Wow.
reason he did not tell
It's even
them.
more fraught there. I
And
mean, now it's
yeah,
obviously legal since
now
2018, but
it's legal to
only
be gay, but it's
not
gay
to get
marriage is
married.
not, yeah, not to
Yeah,
get
and there are
married.
people trying to push that forward now. But
And then he came for college. She said, to America, and then now lives in Brooklyn running a company. And she said it was the happiest time of his life to have moved to America. He
wow.
felt America made him free. It's the great nation of ours that can allow you to live a free life. And she said that, my son, doesn't matter what he gained professionally, but at an emotional level, he lived a very happy life. And she lives under so much regret and this thing that she could not be there for him when he announced that he lived so many years being gay and could not tell
Yeah,
them
that's so
how difficult
interesting
that
that
life
that
must have
was
been.
one of her emotions, because it's sort of similar to what Zarna was saying about the fear that your child is living with something that you couldn't help them with or didn't know
Yeah.
about. That is like,
That would
my
devastate.
mom has said that too.
Why is it so personal if you don't know every detail or you don't? I mean, I understand this is a big detail to not know about your kid, but what's the fear if you don't know?
It's first of all is the fear. What else do you not know? That's the first thing for me. Two, I think you want to believe that your home and you are the softest place for your kid to
Hmm.
land, because besides for the mom and dad and the home you grew up in, the world is a harsh place.
Hmm.
Right.
Like, if you're not even that soft place to land, where is this kid gonna go with all their feelings? And me, the way my brain works, I would also be scared of, like, now this kid with all these hidden feelings has to confide in people who may not even have his good intentions at their
Oh,
heart.
Hmm.
interesting.
Makes this
Yeah.
person weak, makes this person vulnerable. Like, my friends who are gay and closeted right now, 30s, 40 somethings, I feel like they're so vulnerable to be taken advantage of. If they're single and not
Hmm.
openly in a strong relationship, I feel like they're always overcompensating with friends. They're buying expensive gifts. They're always having to show up in ways that if they were in a secure, loving relationship, they would
Yeah.
just be like, I don't need to do this. But there is an inner need for validation that feels like an emotional dark hole that they're just not able to fill.
Oh my
Right.
God, yeah. There's
Do
just
you
an
know what I'm saying,
endlessly
Roshan?
empty hole. Otherwise, I mean, I'm still digging it full, and it's not full. That's why I keep just launching one career after another. I mean, at this point, I've been a doctor, then I was a screenwriter, then I was a director, now I'm a
At the
novelist,
highest
and
level,
who
at
knows
literally the
what
highest
is
level.
next? Because I still don't feel like I'm worthy.
But the number of people that are gay per unit of, let's say, every 100 people is probably the same across ethnicities, right?
Yeah,
Which
it's
means
it's been true across history too. So
across
probably
history.
Yes.
five to
Let's talk
ten
about
percent.
this.
My point
Yeah.
is that means, Zoya, that number of people gay in India is the same as the number of percentage of people gay
What it means is there's
else.
probably more gay people in India than there are anywhere else in the world because of
Yep.
India's total absolute
Total
population.
population, and think
Population.
There's
about
probably
how
more
hard
gay
it must
Indians
be.
than any other kind of gay.
Gay.
We're
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
most common kind of gay.
Well, I want to
But
bring
think
this
about
up.
how hard it must be for them then,
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
because it's
And
not
horrible.
easy.
I
Horrible.
think, I mean, Roshan and I have a very shared, deep interest in classics and in history, which my mom is always trying to kill. But I do
Yeah.
think it's relevant to this conversation. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's very relevant to this conversation because, and I want Roshan to speak more on this because he knows more than me, but like,
No, I don't.
no, but like India's history was not always so restrictive. This was actually not part of Indian culture prior to the British Raj. And if you want to, I would love for you to get into that
Hold
Well,
because
on,
yeah, the
frame
easiest
the question.
example.
Hold on, frame the question. So, being homophobic was not historically an Indian thing to do.
Yes,
That's what you're saying.
the
No,
British restricted
the
it, right?
British brought homophobia. They brought transphobia too. Because if you go to any temple in India and you look what's carved on the walls, you're not going to be like thinking that this is a prudish people. I mean, there are all kinds of nudities and obscenities carved on the walls of every temple in India because what the British brought more than anything as an overarching thing was Victorian restraint, prudishness, and morality. And for example, the Hijra community, which is a very old community in India, their existence became illegal the moment the British formally arrived. And the penal code that made being transsexual, transgender in India illegal was their penal code. Same with the penal code that made being gay illegal until 2018. So we are still under the effect of British repression, but you don't have to look very far or deeply in Indian culture to find evidence of sexual liberality from the Kama Sutra onwards. Which is all to say that we're still, I feel, in the process of rediscovering who we are. And the strict Victorian morality is actually more of a British thing than it is a South Asian thing.
The British are horrible people. There's no question
Okay,
about it.
let's
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get disagreement from me. They are, and obviously none of this
I think
is
the
true
class
now.
system in India comes from them too. The
I
entire system.
think
the
every
wealth-based-
society and every culture in the world in history has had an informal or formal caste system. What the British really brought is their particular brand of emotional repression, which is maybe not true now, but they are a very emotionally repressed people by and large. And they brought that to all of their colonies, interestingly. And it seeped into the culture in really significant ways. It's not to say that it was like really easy to be gay in India in 0 BC, but it was certainly a different kind of entity. And you look at Hinduism with gods that have more than one gender, that shift, that a pantheon that contains male and female gods. It's really quite broad and wide ranging compared to the current monotheistic religions, which are all male gods. For example, there are no female gods in the predominant religion.
Roshan, if you had any advice for the moms who are dealing with this, or the kids who are trying to come out, wanting to come out, desperate to come out, just are paralyzed by fear.
Yeah, I think the first step to dealing with any difficult, unruly emotion is to name it. And there's a phrase in therapy, which I know you love, called name it to tame it, where I think the thing that would help parents and their kids the most is to talk about the fear, because it's the thing underneath those conversations anyways. And I actually think is important for kids to validate their parents' fear, for parents to validate their kids' fears, for everyone to feel like they're allowed to feel all of the emotions they feel. You are allowed to feel anything as a mom of a gay child. It's just, how do you actually help your child? And the way you help your child is not by repressing or suppressing or trying to make it go away or questioning it or wondering where it came from or being obsessive about its origins. None of that is actually helpful. But if you are feeling fear, you are 100% allowed to feel fear and express it and talk about it. And so are your kids. And the thing that is really hard to imagine, I think, when someone comes out, is that it will ever be okay. And it's crazy to me to think how long I waited to come out, because I couldn't imagine the life that I'm currently enjoying.
When I talk to my friends who are closeted and I want to encourage them to come out, they're so fearful.
Yeah.
And all I see is possibilities.
Yeah.
That if we're
It's
able
only
to climb
possibility.
over that Mount Fear, there's what is on the other side of it.
Yeah, Ian McKellen just did an interview where he was talking about coming out, and he was like, I haven't met a single person who said they regret it. And that's so true. I haven't met a single person who said they regret it. But the fear is, again, very understandable, and I want to validate it as much as possible, because I had it. When you're in that dark hole, it's really hard to imagine that you will ever have a normal, happy life. It really, it feels impossible. It's crazy. And I think it's, again, different now for kids of your generation, but at least speaking to what I was feeling before I came out. And it doesn't help that the political climate is always making being gay and transgender a hot button issue. And what is funny about all the hot button issues in society, abortion, gay, transgender, is that they've all existed forever. And there's nothing you can do about them. Abortion will exist till the end of time. Gay people will continue to be born until the end of time. Transgender people will continue to be born. There's like nothing any of us can do, whether you like it or not. And yet they are the things that we're always litigating and relitigating in the media and in politics. And I think all of that is what leads to this feeling that it's impossible to be happy. But I mean, I really did not ever imagine the life I have. It was just felt completely impossible. Now I feel so lucky. I have a loving partner. My family is so supportive and loving. His family is so supportive and loving. It's like been...
Well, his mom is like the biggest ally of every
she's
mother.
like marching in gay parades in Chandigarh. Like she's doing whatever she can to move the cause. She's asking other parents if their kids are gay, even though they don't seem gay. Like she's really on top of it.
I know Karan's mom is very outspokenly supportive. I think your mom has been more reserved throughout.
Yes, she's just
Has been more hesitant. So what is her posture now.
She's really scared, I think, of the political climate actually more than anything.
Yeah.
And especially coming out now with this like overtly gay movie in a time when people are trying to duck their heads and get through what feels to them
Yeah.
like persecution. So I think the whole thing makes her a little uneasy. But she is at the same time that she's like worried and afraid, she's still like very like loving and supportive of who I am. It's you can be both at the same time.
But I think the fact that you made a movie that is actually just a romantic movie
Yeah.
that happens to have gay people in it has gone a long way, because I don't see any hate in the comments unless I'm missing something.
I think when you watch the trailer, you get the correct impression of the movie, which is that it's not really a gay movie at all. It's just about a family dealing with a thing. And the way that you connected to the idea of a mother who doesn't know something about her son and how painful that is for her, I think people connect on all kinds of levels. The movie tested highest among white women. That is the number one group at every screening
Really?
and in every test screening. It's white women.
What's the second group? Is it gay guys?
No, it's South Asians.
Talking about fears, what do you name like emotional abuse by a spouse as a fear? Like if you've been abused by a spouse all your marriage or something
This
like that.
is
How do
really.
you name that fear?
Where are we talking?
I'm curious.
He was talking about you have to name your fear first, right?
Yeah. Your fear is your fear is of being emotionally abused. I don't know what to say. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that I'm going to name it. I've named it. And-
it's a
okay.
start.
And now
I
I'm going to tame
I don't
it.
want to discourage you.
Now I'm gonna
because-
do.
Oh, okay, Roshan.
Yeah.
Don't discourage it, please. You know what I feel like?
Now
That's
that I
the
have named
real
it, I'm
emotion
next
that
to
you
it.
have. Yeah.
I can't even with therapy in this
Yeah.
podcast.
You know, there's a part of me, like if this podcast, we're recording it in America. We all live in America. When I talk to my Indian friends who are gay, they all think, oh, this is all American. You can do all this there. We can't do it here. I don't know anymore. Of course, I don't know what it's like to live in India and to live that life, right? But a part of me wonders if somebody just came out in India. I
Yeah.
think there would be like a life cycle of outrage the way it is for everything else. Like a week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and then people would move on. Somebody new would do something new.
So
Yeah,
I
it
feel
would be
like the
very
one thing
powerful.
I mean it would be very powerful, and I think one thing that seems to be holding back Indians in India is just religion, right? Like there's just so many religious conflicts in India that don't exist in that same visceral way in America. And I
Yeah.
don't know how you circumvent that. And
Well, it's funny again because that is really more cultural than religious. There's
Ye-
nothing in Hinduism
I was just
that
gonna say-
explicitly forbids being gay. In contrast to Christianity, where it is
Yeah.
literally in the Bible.
in the Bible. Yeah.
It is
yeah.
written down. We don't have anything to stop
We don't-
us, but I don't know. I mean, I follow a lot of people who follow me on Instagram are gay Indians who have probably found their way from the movie or something, and some of them are like in villages holding hands with another guy, kissing.
Oh, that's
People are living like their lives in the way, whatever way they can. I don't know. I have no idea how open it is. I suspect that in the big cities like Bombay and New Delhi, that it's very open actually. But in the smaller towns and villages, I'm sure it's more difficult. I know there are gay bars. One of the people who keeps commenting on the trailer is an account called Grinder Pakistan. So I mean, something's changing out there.
Oh my God.
I know people who are renting out theaters as coming out parties now
Oh,
in
that's
America.
interesting.
But people, the love this trailer is getting is so mind blowing.
When Ellen DeGeneres
Oh.
came out, she used to do a bit where she said, you know, when you come out, nobody ever says congratulations, you're gay. That was in 1996, a very different time. You might actually say that now, but back then
Yeah.
they didn't. And when she came out live on TV in 1996, which was a huge thing for her to do and a very risky thing, someone bought her a cake that said, congratulations, you're gay. She cut it and ate it at the
Aw.
shooting of the live episode. But
Yeah.
the bigger fundamental thing is that South Asians often don't express all the shame and the secrets, and we hold them and guard them really
Yeah.
tight in our families. And it's just a way of life. But one of the reasons I think people respond to the movie is because the idea that you would let go of all of that and just
Yes.
pursue acceptance and belonging is really powerful.
I'm hiding a lot of things from my kids.
You're not hiding
I'm
anything.
hiding
hon.
a lot of disappointment.
You're not hiding anything from the internet either. It's
I
not
mean,
even just
honestly,
us.
I came out, the emotional abuse was the big thing, and I've come out today.
Yeah, you've come out and
I've
said
named
it.
it, and I will tame it now.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I'm really happy
It's
this
the
gave me a
opposite
foot.
of being South Asian is name it to tame it. But you know, it really is the opposite of the way that we're used to.
What is our dream scenario out of this movie?
It's
What
just
do we
that
want?
the biggest thing is that it is seen in whatever way people want to see it, in theaters, on VOD, which it will eventually reach, on streaming, which it will eventually reach, though we don't know where. Like, just that people watch it and share it, because art is really powerful. The best line in the movie, which you came up with, is not in the trailer, so, and we won't spoil
Yes,
it.
it is
Yeah.
my line, my favorite line, and we,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
And Peter Kim's best line is also
Peter
not in the
Gibbs.
trailer. There's
Yeah, yeah.
two really, there's two
No,
very
it is true
surprising
because
moments.
a lot of people think, well, we know the whole story, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you'll see. First of all, go to the movie theater just to feel something. It's
Yeah.
been so long since we saw a movie where you actually feel something. We're not being pounded by guns and, like, to feel something besides fear. Well, thank you, Roshan, for
Yeah,
making
thank
this
you
thank you
guys
happen.
for
so
having me.
Wait, we're not done yet. We
Oh.
finish every episode with a round called Good Grades with Gargs.
I
'cause-
just have to interject because this is the most ironic thing because Roshan is literally the grade king. I mean, this
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
has
Well,
gotten
we're
good
gonna find
grades
out, but
for
stop
tr-
trying
like
to stop trying to
over
I could-
30 years.
influence the
I could
report card.
recite my grades right now. Every single, like, I could tell you I could tell it all, like, right now.
No, we are going to do a round of Good Grades with Gargs where everybody on the episode assigns an A grade to somebody else in the episode for bringing the winning
Okay,
moment.
let me go first.
Yeah.
Can you just hold
Oh,
on?
sorry.
Like, seriously, this Indian people, like, the word grades, and they're like, oh my god, like, let me go.
Yeah.
Your kids are in the thing. You should be like, Zoya, you go. No, your wife, no, you go. No, I will go first.
You are emotionally abusing me. How can I choose you?
This is it. Did you see how he's latched on?
we're
Yeah.
naming things. We're really
We're
naming
really
things.
naming things. He's like, we've really changed Shalop. Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
I mean,
okay.
of course, the obvious one is Roshan, but I have to pick Veer for my A grade because I think his questions off of the beginning of the
Yeah, they're
podcast
really good.
were just so honest and just wanting to absorb the knowledge and the opinions, which is so
Yeah.
typical of Veer. He's just such a rational kid that he wanted to approach it from this. He's no judgment on the
No,
topic. He just
no.
wants to
He's getting the
understand.
facts.
Yeah, he just wants to get the facts as to what the facts are surrounding the
Yeah.
issue, and also have to make a public service message that generally it's hard for me to find a man more articulate and better spoken than myself. But Roshan definitely
Oh.
is an incredibly well spoken
Oh
man.
my
Wow.
god.
I really think
wow.
he's so well
More
spoken.
articulate than
Okay.
Shalop.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
He's just so well spoken, man. Like I wish I was gay sometimes.
Yeah. This is why you're on statins, I guess.
Oh my
Listen, I don't think I've
god.
ever heard him say that about anybody else.
Anybody in my
Oh my
life,
God,
yeah, that's a huge
wow.
compliment.
I want to give my A grade to Roshan because
Yeah.
I think it's very admirable the way that you're so vulnerable and you're so okay with being vulnerable about this topic because it's easy to be scared to speak out about homosexuality. So I think that's very cool.
Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Listen, getting a cool certification from Veer
From
is
Veer,
that
that's a
is-
lot.
That was
wow.
big. That
We've
was
been,
really
I've been
big.
on a wait list to be certified cool for
Oh
at
my
least
God.
a year.
I'm not
I-
even on the list. I'm not even on. I've been like rejected.
I got mine
outright.
just a few months ago.
Dad, you have
Yeah.
not gotten anything. In fact, actually.
The Garg men are opening up. Wow.
I'm gonna give my A grade to Mom, actually, which is very new for me. But
Yeah.
I do think I don't know what it's like to come out. I can imagine that one thing that's important is to feel like you really trust your parent. And I think one thing that really has helped us in our relationship is when I've been afraid to tell her things and I floated topics, she was always very receptive. Even like when I did things wrong in school or like something went wrong or like anything that I made a mistake or felt like scared about emotionally, she was very open-minded to and would actually be that soft landing that she talked about earlier.
And I feel like I've deeply earned that A grade because there are many things that have gone wrong. Many missteps, misjudgments that we will not get into because that's the
Yeah.
episode. Thank you, Zoya. Thank you for that. Roshan, do you want to go next or do I go
Yeah,
next?
I would give my A grade to you too, to Zarna, for using her platform for a subject that people often don't want to talk about. It's very powerful in its own quiet way, and it includes being in the movie. And if I had another A grade to give, I'd give it to Shalab for naming it to tame it.
Oh my god. Are you?
But I don't have another A grade. I think I only have one.
You only get one A grade,
Yeah, yeah.
actually.
Also, just to be clear, it's 1/5 owned by 5 people. It's not Zarna.
Yeah, or I could give a
Oh
B.
my
I don't
god.
know if there's a B
Wow,
grade.
the betrayal.
A B grade?
What? I don't know if I would be as aware of essentially the crisis that's facing the gay community if it wasn't for this movie. Certainly, absolutely, without a question, A grade to Roshan for even
Yeah.
bringing me into this project. I feel so lucky, and I'm thank God that you were wiser than me when I said no, I shouldn't do it. You should get a Bollywood actress, and you were like, yeah, I really thought you should get like Dimple
No.
Kapadia or somebody who's like a trained Bollywood actress. Like, why would I risk uh, taking your movie down, being the weakest link in an otherwise?
No, but you're the strongest thing, and it's because there's one thing you can't teach anyone, which is to be funny. There's nothing you can do about that. You just are or you aren't. It's crazy.
If you're a mom and you're not sure about your kid's sexuality, or you're like they're straight, why do we care? You care. I'm telling you, as a mother, you're gonna fall in love with your kids all over again, because you're gonna watch a kid struggle in silence, and that it's just so powerful to know and understand the other side of being a parent. And I encourage everybody who's watching this to please share, like, and be part of this episode. Tell us what you're thinking about, because we want to help these kids come out. We want to help. The best part of helping the gay community is that it's such an actual joyful community.
Yeah.
It's
So
like
smart,
literally
too. The
the
smartest
happiest,
community.
most
Yeah.
joyful people. Like, we need more of that in this
Yeah.
world, like stat right
Yeah,
now.
it's what's so funny is that the etiology of the word gay is happy. Gay just means happy.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, however you can get your hands on this movie, it's a must watch. How many? Oh, in keeping line with the grades, how many percentage on Rotten Tomatoes, Roshan?
100%. Which I check every day just to see if
Yes,
it's
me
rated.
too. Me too.
Yeah. I check
I'm
our
refreshing.
letterbox score, then I check other movies' letterbox score and make sure we're higher than the movies.
Oh, there comes the
Yeah.
A grades.
You heard it here, guys. The biggest hit of 2025. A nice Indian boy. We had the pleasure of hosting the director himself in our podcast. Put it in the comment section. DM us. Send us an email, because if we can help you, we want to help you. We want to be there and figure it out for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Hi, Jeremy. Was drinking water today and thought of you. Delete. Hey, Edmund. Hey, Ben. I was talking to my mom today and I remembered you have a mom. Delete.
Sent.
It's portrait day. The photographer is hot.
I've got an extra ticket to a film screening if you want to join me.
I'll check my calendar, but yes, I think I'll be, which movie?
Tell me how you feel. Looking like
Do
a
you
movie
watch a
star,
lot of
doing it
foreign
for
films?
Looking like a snack, looking like a whole meal.
I'm adopted. I was raised by Indian parents. Theirs was the first home where I felt like I belonged.
Wow.
Yeah.
Baby, let me see it. I just wanna eat it.
What's new, Naveen? Got a boyfriend?
Let me see it.
My parents are super liberal. Just don't bring up drinking or sex, and no displays of physical affection.
At least this boy is Indian. We think it's wonderful that you're white.
Oh my God. Where are you going?
Naveen, you should be with your family. You didn't tell them about me.
How do you expect us to react? Go off to live your own life. We don't know anything about you or your relationships, nothing.
Kind of have that thing where you look at him and you hear music.
I never said anything to you about music.
Are you telling me I'm wrong?
The big wedding party with all of the people we love. I want the same thing with you.
My only gay son is getting married?
Always surprising me, my only son.
I think a lot of people are a little embarrassed by the bigness of love. The family, the wedding, it's about everybody together. You ready?
So which one of you is the bride?
Oh, Dad, yeah, that's not how it works.